understand that you're one of Britain's leading property investors on the buy-to-let scenario market. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that market.
What happened was, in 2006, I went to a business conference in Alicante, and it was at that business conference that I met a serial entrepreneur, Steve Bolton, who was talking about property investments, just how lucrative the whole business model was. So obviously I was very interested, and I thought, I want to be a part of it.
And this is the Platinum Property Partners?
This is Platinum Property Partners, that's right. It's a franchise organisation, of course. So you go in there and they teach you how to do property investments more on the lucrative way. So you're trying to see how can you maximise on your rental income, and that was the key for me.
Okay, so in 2008 you bought a property franchise? 2006.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. Yeah, so I bought the franchise well, actually, the franchise was in 2008. However, he had mentoring programs before that. So I was one of the first mentoring clients that he took on board, and I worked alongside me. And of course, when he set up the franchise, I said, look, I'm really interested, and I was one of the first to actually join. And I think the key for me was I wanted to join because of the systems and strategies and the tools that he had and the ongoing support, because it was a new thing for me, and therefore I needed somebody else who had the know-how to hold my hand and teach me along the way.
And that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't get when they're starting out with business on their own. They don't get to have their hand held or any form of ongoing support.
No.
So we know Steve Bolton. Steve's been with us here at the Business Startup Show for many years. I've sat on the panel with him for about 4 years, I think. So wonderful. And that's when you decided to make the plunge and take out one of the franchises.
That's right, yeah.
And how soon after you took out the franchise were you able to realise some profits?
I tell you what, I think I went full on with the whole strategy. So within 9 months, I actually made my first million in property investment. So I went up there and bought as many properties as I could and turned them around.
Where were you buying these properties?
In my own local town in Swindon. So I used to live in Swindon at that time, and of course my property portfolio is actually in Swindon. So the whole strategy actually works, not in going from place to place, but actually understanding what geographical place can you take over, and then working and concentrating in buying in that area. Some people tend to buy differently, but I chose to buy in the same area.
Well, it's perhaps easier to manage having
absolutely
in one
right.
area.
And if you've got lots of tenants, I mean, I've got over about 60 tenants. Imagine having to go and manage those people and having to travel 2 hours away, almost impossible. So I prefer to live within at least 30 minutes drive to get there. Is my maximum. That's how I took it.
I love it. You set your boundaries already.
I did.
So Caroline, of course, this led to you working on Channel 4's Secret Millionaire. So how did you enjoy filming that?
I think what happened was, actually I'll just take a step back. Participating in the whole program just changed the perception that I had of the UK, because I'm not English and I've only been in this country for 7 years, and I had a prejudgment idea on people on local benefits and things, and therefore when I went in there it was interesting for me to see the levels of deprivation here in this country, when England is supposedly the place of opportunity, which it is, but it's just knowing that, my gosh, there is that going on. So my perception on that changed, and in fact now I work quite closely in my own local community, but also in different communities, trying to see how can I be a part of making a difference in somebody else's life.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, when you're starting out in business, a woman to woman here, what advice have you got for some of the people out there at home watching, and of course the entrepreneurs listening here today? It's difficult setting up in business as a woman sometimes. Did you have any obstacles when you started out?
I did, and the industry itself, property is very
male orientated.
Absolutely, and so it's going out there and starting. The good thing for me is because I had a mentor who was a male.
So Steve protected you?
Steve was protecting me, but at the same time, I think when he left me on my own, I found it hard to have to deal with the tradesmen or with all the builders, because suddenly they thought young, black, female, not really interested. And of course I had to persevere and go through all of those barriers.
So you must have had to have a really strong backbone. I know when I've been
because
dealing with...
I knew what I wanted. He told me this was possible. He said if you just follow this, you will get what you want. And of course I thought, no man is going to intimidate me. I'm just going to have to keep going past. It took me, the first property that I bought, I went through about 9 quotations to get an electrician to give me a good price. And that was really hard. Today, I've got really good guys that I work with.
I bet they're all jumpy to work with you now, Caroline, aren't they?
Yeah. But it's just that whole idea of you just have to be determined and persistence and just carry on. It's building that mantle of, I'm going to have to make it. I will do whatever it takes to get there, and that's what I do.
And did you have any major setbacks along the way when you were building your buy-to-let portfolio?
Absolutely. Even, yes, somebody can hold your hand, but sometimes a lot of the stuff was in my mind, so the mindset shift. I had to make some changes in my own thinking. So I know I lost one property deal, and I've done some, made some mistakes in the property investments. But at the same time, I would say I have not made as many mistakes because I held on to somebody else holding my hand. So yeah.
So that's one of the key benefits of obviously, having a franchise is that you get that support. So
that's right.
Any advice for our entrepreneurs that are listening about setting up or taking out a franchise?
To all the entrepreneurs out there is, you know what, it is possible. You go out there and make it a success. The keys are find a really good business idea, because having an idea on its own can almost sometimes be deceiving. So it's knowing how good is my business idea, and is it really suited to the marketplace? How do I have a plan to execute that idea? Do I have the systems, the tools, the strategies? Do I understand my marketing process? And then of course knowing all the details about your financial position, and then going out there and make it, go and make it into whatever you have to make it. That's right. Yeah.
And what does the future hold for Caroline Marsh?
Lots of things actually. I think following on to The Secret Millionaire, a lot of people ask me if I could work alongside them in terms of helping them, maybe establish their own businesses. And of course, we've started something we call How to Go From Concept to Cash in 90 days. So it's quite an intense program, and we handhold people and teach them how they can take their business idea into something that is actually tangible. So that's what my main.
Is this a course or a seminar? Or?
It's a training. So you come, we hold you for 90 days. So we're not just teaching you one day and off you go. No.
Is that 90 consecutive days?
90 days. That's right. Yeah. 90 days. So we have 3 mentoring days, like full days, where we actually go through your whole business idea. But along the way, we give you like weekly flight plan, what you should be focusing on, and you get a mentoring partner, somebody to hold your hands, and you get a buddy as well. So it's a jump up 90-day system, but it helps you take from here to there with somebody else. So it's not quite so frightening in the business world out there.
Yeah, so you really are out there helping hold their hands. And this is something you've launched recently?
That's right, yeah, because I felt a little bit helpless sometimes. People say to me, well, can you coach me? I can only be in one place at one given time to one person. But I thought, well, actually there's a group of us doing this whole thing together. How dynamic, because it's not just me, there's 20 people. It's only for 20 people at any given time. We can't have any more than 20 people. And so we get the marketing first, and we get myself, and we get the financial guy, and we sit together and brainstorm. The whole idea is having a mastermind alliance. The idea of people working together and helping push the whole thing through.
Power in numbers.
That's right, yeah.
So last question from me, Caroline, is where's good to buy a property at the moment? What area would you recommend?
Well, I would not like to generalise, and that's because every given area, there's certain things that you look out for in a property deal, and so you have to analyse every location with its own geographical concerns and what the market is doing for that particular place. In my own town, Swindon is still the best place for me to buy, and of course I'll carry on buying there. So I wouldn't give a general picture, because the media are always trying to portray that this is what's happening to the actual economy, but actually no. Every given pocket has its own
absolutely. Yeah, there's always things going up and things going down, just like the stock market.
That's right.
So Caroline, thank you so much for joining us today. You're a very inspirational lady, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.